everyone, welcome to the weekly SEO. Today I'm back again with an amazing and lovely guest, Gordana which is with us. Hi Gordana, how are you?
Hello. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm
Thank
really
you for having
fine.
me.
No problem. I'm so happy to have you here because you have an amazing case study, and I wanted to
Thank you.
listen to it for really long time. I saw it on LinkedIn, and I'm so
Oh,
excited today. And hi everyone, by the way, if you have any questions, you can ask your questions to the comment section. We would love to answer them at the end of the presentation. So
yeah,
Gordana, where are you right
absolutely.
now?
Right now, I am in Belgrade in Serbia. It's this very tiny country in the Balkans, pretty close to Turkey, actually. I think it has some history between us.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, a lot of actually Serbian words come from Turkish, so it's actually really nice to talk to someone from Turkey. So yeah, Belgrade, Serbia, and hi everyone. I hope you're all good.
Hi Müge, hi Nefise, welcome to the live stream. I really wonder Belgrade, I've never visited there, but I
You
want
should.
I want to visit, yeah.
Yeah, if you ever come over, please let me know. We'll go have some coffee or alcohol. I shouldn't say that.
Oops. I'm
Oopsie.
I'm pretty I'm pretty sure you have a lot of good stuff to eat there.
Yeah. Especially if you like meat, because Serbian cuisine is very meaty. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
hard for vegetarians, but things are changing. So it's a pretty good city. I won't lie. Kind of like a party capital of Europe almost. So yeah, please, anyone come to Belgrade. I would love to host you.
I would be happy to be a guest of
Yeah.
you. And if I visit there someday, I'm gonna totally meet with you there. So it will be
Yes.
exciting.
Amazing.
And okay, people are coming. So we can start slowly if you want.
Yeah,
I
let's
know
do
you're
it.
excited.
I am. Just bear with me. I'm not very technical, so I might fumble a little bit with the screen share, but I hope everything's going to be okay.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We can solve it. It's
Yeah,
Friday. It's happy time.
yeah, we deserve to just chill and relax a little bit. All right, should I start the screen share?
Yes. I guess you need to hit the share button again.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. Sorry, guys. Ah, there we go. Okay. So these are our lovely faces, and your sunglasses look really cool. By the way, can you see it? Can you see my screen? Yeah, I see.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, awesome. So again, thank you so much for having me. And as you said, we kind of have this case study that we've been sharing around the internet, especially on LinkedIn. Follow us on LinkedIn. And we met in the Women in Tech SEO group, which is this amazing space. And I remember you posted that you're looking for people with interesting stories. So I just thought I'd apply, and that's why I'm here. So today I'm going to talk about how we got from literally 0 to 1.5 million organic visitors a month with pretty much just content. So no crazy technical SEO or anything like that. And before I begin, hi everyone, my name is Gordana. I'm a co-founder of Workello and director of operations at Content Distribution, which is content agency that actually did what we're going to talk about today. And I'm not a technical SEO person in any way. I have no idea how to do it. So this is just a little bit of a playbook on how to get crazy, massive SEO traffic with pretty much just content. So let's get started. And feel free to interrupt me. I should have shown this before I said all of it. Okay. Feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions. So all right. a little bit about me. So I was a content writer for 7 years, had nothing to do with SEO. And then I got hired by this lovely gentleman right here. His name is Nick Jordan. We were working together. I was a writer for him, and then he asked me to be his editor. And then we just kind of built the team. I had zero experience, but of course, in my interview, I lied and I said, "Yeah, of course, I built a content team before. Like, how hard can it be?" Um, and one more fun fact: my friends and I are friends trivia champions. So if you ever come to Belgrade, you should do a pub quiz together. So anyway, this is the lovely team that actually, to be a little bit serious, that got us to 1.5 million. And yeah, let me show you how to do it. So we're going to cover a few things today. Basically, the goal is for you to have a tiny little playbook that you can expand on. And we're going to talk about setting up systems, because I'm a huge believer in systems and processes, especially when you create content at scale, which is very, very hard. We all know that you need to have a system. The second thing that I'm going to cover is how to build a really good content team that you love and that they actually love, and how to cluster your keywords and how to actually choose your topics and why that's important. Am I talking too fast? I'm sorry.
No, everything is okay, I guess. Nobody said anything.
Right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's good.
Awesome. So, okay, let's get started. This lovely graph right here is actually the graph that we're going to be talking about today. So when we started, I think we were about here. I think we started working with Do Not Pay in July 2019. That's when I got hired. And this is, very flat, as you can see. But we thought, that was huge back when we started. So this wasn't our first project, of course. Content Distribution, the agency that I'm a member of, grew 4 projects from 0 to 100,000 organic visitors per month. And usually it happens, as you can see here, in 13 months. We notice this crazy spike. So this is definitely a repeatable process that you can do over and over again. And obviously, we're not working on these projects anymore. We're not working on Do Not Pay anymore either. But we are working on new projects that we're hoping, or actually, we're pretty certain that by the end of the year, we'll hit the magical 100,000 mark. And then hopefully, maybe in another year, we'll get to another million. But just to give you a little bit of context and what that looks like, it's really beautiful. I am in love with this graph. And why am I telling you all of this and mentioning 4 projects? It's because you will see when you start doing research that the more content you have, the more traffic you have. Obviously, I know there are other ways of growing your organic presence, but what we found is the most consistent and kind of the safest way to do is to just publish really, really, really good content and to publish it at scale. So if you look at all of these wonderful and very famous websites, such as the Points Guy or the famous Do Not Pay or NerdWallet, you will see that they all, apart from just it's crazy how much traffic they have. They have a lot of pages. All of them have literally thousands of pages. And I always use NerdWallet as an example because they are kind of the most famous player in the space, but especially for people in kind of the financial industry, they all want to outrank NerdWallet. And when they do, it's kind of the best day ever. And they are a perfect representation of why content velocity works, because it's not just enough to publish a bunch of pages and say, okay, I'm done, or use AI to do it. You need to publish high quality content. And I actually posted on LinkedIn the other day. If I wanted to catch up with NerdWallet, they actually have 20,000 pages now, or a little bit more. This screenshot is a little bit outdated. If I were to do it alone and write and publish 1 article per day without ever, going on vacation or getting sick or doing anything, it would take me 54 years to catch up to them. And I'm going to be 86 in 54 years, and I'm not about spending my retirement just banging out articles. And so basically, my point is you need help. You can't do this alone.
Wow, these are a lot of pages, by the way. How much time did it take to write these pages? It's a lot of content.
It is, yeah. So we started working with Do Not Pay, as I said, in July 2019. So it took us 2 years to get from 0 to 1.5 million, and we published about 10,000 pages. When we started, just to give a little bit of context, when we started, we were publishing these really long articles because the website was really new, and it didn't really have any content on it. So we wanted to be an absolute authority in the space. Back in the day, Do Not Pay, I don't know if you guys know, but Do Not Pay has a bunch of products under them, and they help people pretty much dispute any kind of legal issue they may have, except for very serious criminal cases. They don't do that, but more of a kind of a civil law. So they help people dispute parking tickets, or go to a small claims court, or I don't know, generate documents or something like that. So when we started with the parking niche, with disputing parking tickets in X city. And we just wanted to saturate it absolutely and be pretty much the only results ever whenever you Google how to dispute parking tickets in New York, how to dispute parking tickets in Chicago or Atlanta or whatever city. So we started with these really long articles. They were 2,500 words, super, super long. But obviously, when you start scaling, you can't do that. So we had to shorten them a little bit. But it was fine because by the time we started publishing fewer words per page, we were already, or I'd rather say Do Not Pay was already a big player in the space, and we could get away with fewer words per page. But if you're new, if you're just starting, I definitely recommend writing longer articles, but quality articles, not just fluff. That should not exist. So it took us 2 years. And yeah, we got here.
By the way, these brands are really big brands. HubSpot, FreshBooks, Kinsta. They are really competitive markets. So it's really big.
Yeah, they're all huge. They're not all of them. Well, I don't think, maybe Wirecut a little bit, but they're not all Do Not Pay competitors. Obviously, they're just kind of examples of literally the biggest players in the space, just to demonstrate how important it is to publish a lot of high quality content. Because nowadays, I can just, this weekend, I can sit and write 30 articles and claim that I'm the authority, but in something that I've never done, which would probably be something about math or finance or I don't know. But I'm not going to be recognized as authority because literally, as I said, anyone can publish 30 pages. Anyone can invest, a few $100s into a few pages of content and hope that they're going to be the biggest player in their niche. But that's just unfortunately or fortunately not true. And, content is a big investment, but it does pay off. So yeah, if you want to catch up with these guys, you've got to publish a lot. Obviously, you don't have to publish 17,000 pages, but you need to be ready to really work on your content and build your content team and just dedicate enough time and energy into this. Just like everything else in life, right? You got to try to succeed. So speaking of, NerdWallet has 131 writers. So, a little old me that would need 54 years to write 20,000 articles. These guys can probably do it in 2 years, right? So my point is, you definitely need help. You can't do it alone. And especially, if you are an entrepreneur, like a solopreneur, or maybe a blogger who, I don't know, a lonely blogger, as we say, you you need to work on things that are going to bring you money. You really don't have that much time to produce so much content. And no matter what niche you're in, I guarantee you, you will find at least 200 articles that you can publish. Literally, doesn't matter what niche you're in, because I personally worked on some very niche education content, and we just published a lot of pages for them, and no one knows what that thing is. So hire your writers. And we get to the most important thing. You actually don't need to be NerdWallet, and you don't have to publish 20,000 pages, but you can turn SEO into your #1 acquisition channel with not thousands, but hundreds of pages of content. So let's see how. So we developed something called the Content Ops Framework. It can have many names, but I'm a huge nerd and I love setting up systems and processes and templates for my team so that I can actually delegate content production and, as I said, focus on stuff that's going to bring us money and that's actually going to pay those people. So obviously when Nick and I started, we were working with freelance writers, but while we were working with these freelancers and kind of getting ready to hire our in-house team, we were building these systems, even though it was just the two of us, but we were just documenting everything. And when the time came to actually scale the content production with Do Not Pay and our other clients, we were absolutely ready, and we knew that the only thing we had to do was just hire the team, and that's it. So let me show you what you're signing up for. So the first and most important thing, as I said, you need to do good knowledge transfer. Basically, you can't do everything alone, and you can't keep all the information in your head. And most importantly, you can't keep answering the same question over and over and over again on Slack, because no matter how smart or driven someone is, if you hire someone new, they're new, they don't know everything that you know, and you don't have time to transfer that knowledge to every single person. Just like, when you're a content agency and someone hires you, your clients don't have time to, just answer a bunch of your questions every single day. So that's where knowledge transfer and documentation comes in. The second important part is just hiring really good writers, hiring a good team. And I struggle with this personally a lot because obviously you want your content to be really high quality, but at the same time, you're maybe limited with the budget that you have. Everyone has a budget. Unfortunately, not all of us can be rich and spend, $1 million a month on content. So you kind of have to work with that too. The third thing is we delegated editing as soon as we could, and I'll explain why that's important later. And finally, we removed SEOs from the process. And I know you said before we began that that's kind of funny and interesting. It is. We have one SEO person on the team, and apart from him, only our CEO Nick had SEO experience before we started working with anything. As I said, I am not an SEO. I was just a lonely little freelance writer and had no idea what I was doing. But with the systems that we set up, basically, I was taught SEO, and then I could teach others kind of light SEO or SEO light, whatever you want to call it. Basically, just enough knowledge to get them to write really good, optimized content. So let's get started. Do you have any questions? I can't see anyone because I'm screen sharing.
Everyone, you may ask questions from the comment section. Actually, I have a question here. You mentioned that you have an approval process for the topics that you will write about and publish. And yeah. I'm just trying to understand the process a bit clearer. So you are just getting approval from your customers, and after that you're writing articles, and you just, with the knowledge transfer, everything comes ready, and they upload the articles to the client's website.
Yeah, so our process is a little bit unique, maybe, because we like to do things at scale, and we always do things at scale. So whenever we do keyword research, we always cluster our keywords, and we get these big deliverables that look like giant spreadsheets of keyword clusters. So even before anything, we already know that, let's say we have 1,000 topics that we can cover. So when we do the keyword research, when we cluster our keywords, and there are many clustering tools out there. We also have our own. We use that one. When we get that deliverable, we do an initial sweep and just take out anything that doesn't really make sense for the client, especially if the client is new. We then, let's say, pick 50 topics that we believe would be best, and we send the list to them, and they usually say, oh yeah, this looks great. They approve it. Or they may have their own suggestions, and they may pick their own topics from the list that we provided. And usually that's how we do it. Whenever we start working with someone new, obviously, we don't know everything about them, and they don't know everything about us. So we're still kind of testing waters there. So that's why we're really big on the knowledge transfer process. So everyone can be on the same page, and we know that moving forward, we're going to create the best content possible. So in the beginning, we will work with the client who will help us. They will approve the topics and maybe give their input. We will, of course, if we disagree, explain why we disagree and why we think that they should target something else, for example, and the potential traffic that can bring them, or I don't know what the reason might be, whatever the reason is, but we definitely collaborate very, very closely in the beginning, and especially when we're creating the first, 3, 4, 5, 10 pieces of content. We have a very, very tight feedback cycle with the client. So once that is done, they are extremely confident that we got, their messaging right. We nailed the brand tone and voice. We're using the right terminology. We understand their product, which is pretty much the most important thing, and we know how to sell it. And yeah, after that, we, to be honest with you, usually get kind of a free rein to do whatever we want. Obviously, we never do anything that's going to hurt the client. We always make sure to choose, the best keyword clusters, produce the content that's going to bring them the most traffic, and just anything that will make them an authority in whatever niche they're in. So yeah, pretty tight feedback cycle, I would say, in the beginning. But later on, it's just like, okay, you guys are good, so you can do whatever you want. I think that's pretty interesting.
I know content structures are hard to build, and you should be really strict. I know that too. So it's really admirable if you have a perfect
and I think it goes both ways. As you said, it's really, really hard to build a reliable system that's going to allow you to publish content at scale. And also, from an agency side, if you're an agency, there has to be trust on both sides. Because obviously, if you're an agency, you're investing a lot of time, you're investing your team's time into this project, and you want it to go well. So you need to trust the client that they're going to trust you to deliver. And then obviously the client has to just sometimes, to be honest, let go a little bit and not micromanage. And usually what I find is, that brings the best results. But I think when you find that mutual trust, just don't let go ever. Like never fire each other, because finding a new agency is a nightmare. And then for agencies that are used to working with this specific client, just quitting that relationship is very, very hard on everyone. So yeah, we all have to be nice to each other. All right, so Let me get into knowledge transfer, aka enablement documentation. So this kind of is an extension of the story that I just told. So when we start working with a new client, we want to learn as much as we can about them. So what we do, and this is a part of our process, we write down all the possible questions that we can think of, and we organize those questions by types and topics. And then we schedule a meeting with the new client. And in that meeting, we go over all the basics. They answer our questions. We write them all down. We record it, of course. And then we start creating the actual written documentation, which is definitely a process, but you just have to do it. So we would create a few docs. One of them would be the big about the project, or whatever you want to call it, document. So it's kind of a master of everything that your client does, who they are, who the audience is. We would absolutely create project language guidelines for very specific things, especially in the B2B niche. You want to be very careful with the words that you're using. God forbid if you're in the medical or legal niche, that's even more serious. So we really want to nail that apart from just the brand tone and everything else. And we create content series briefs or content series templates, which are basically just like normal content briefs, except they are used for a series of articles instead of just one article. And we really found that when we started creating briefs, which was very, very early on when we started working together, that first, it cuts down on so much of your own time because you don't have to create the content brief for every single article. And if you batch your keyword clusters into series, it's much, much easier to just create one brief, include everything you need to include, and then give that to writers with supplemental documentation such as the about the project and language guidelines. And they can create really, really good content at scale. One thing, very important thing to remember is that unless you document something, you absolutely can't hold your team accountable to doing it. And I learned this the hard way because I was very lazy in the beginning. Documenting things was not my favorite thing to do. Obviously, I would get a million questions from my team through no fault of their own. Obviously, they just wanted to understand what they were working on and how to do a good job. But I got super frustrated because I would just type on Slack every day, all day. Couldn't really do my job. And I would also get frustrated when they got something wrong, but it's not their fault, it's mine. So definitely, whatever you do, I would say your probably number one task, if you're a content manager or an operations manager or even an editor, I would just document literally everything and update it, as new updates come. So your whole team can be on the same page, and knowledge transfer becomes much, much, much easier. And final thing to add here, every time we talk to the clients and they maybe added a new product to their portfolio, or they rebranded, or even something small that changed, we will absolutely make sure that that ends up in the documentation and that our team knows that the documents have been updated, so they know that they need to check and see what's new and fix the content that they're working on according to those new changes. These are some of the example questions that you can ask your client or customer, or even yourself if you are working on your own project. This is what we do with our CEO when we are working on internal projects. We just sit him down and don't let him leave Zoom for 1 hour until he replies to all these questions and gives us enough information to work on. Obviously, when you're working with clients, you could be a little bit nicer than you are with your own team members, especially your CEO. But yeah, these are just kind of the basics. And of course, you can add to these questions as you see fit. The second thing, and I think I'm missing a slide here, so I'll just go back. The second thing that we talked about that's very important is hiring your team. So, as I said, you don't have 54 years to write articles and be a little old grandma by the time you're done. So you definitely need to hire really, really good writers. And if you ever did that, you know how hard it is. And I definitely struggled with hiring a lot. So what I found was, not only do I have a job to do to produce X number of pages per month, but while doing that, I don't want to waste anybody's time and I don't want to disrespect anyone's skills. And I definitely want to hire the best person for the job because how hard or easy my job is depends on who I hire. So realize that, okay, I need to evaluate a lot of candidates if I want to find the 1% that I want to hire, or 5%. But it was very annoying just answering emails and a bunch of questions and DMs, and pretty quickly realized that I also need to assess my writers or my writing candidates, because oftentimes, I saw that portfolio content was not a good representation of someone's skills. Unfortunately, we live in that world. Some people just, plant someone else's content as their own. And I definitely had to pay a lot of money for content that I couldn't use. So realized that I have to evaluate a bunch of candidates to get to that one perfect person. And actually, the first writer that I hired, she's now our project manager. Her name is Nina. She's absolutely amazing. And I remember when I hired her, I think I evaluated about 240 candidates, and she was the only one that got hired because she was really the best. But that process was really tedious. And this is a warning. I'm now going to get into just a tiny bit of promo territory, but not too much. We created a system that pretty much helps solve this problem. It's called Workello. I'm a co-founder of that company, and it's a pre-hire assessment solution specifically designed for content teams. So you just post your job, you evaluate your candidates. They're all sorted by status. They all come to the same funnel from wherever that you posted your job at, and you can definitely hire the top 1% of people. And one more thing, we are a fully remote team. I'm not biased. I can hire people from all over the world. Obviously, I'm Serbian, so I kind of understand what it's like to be in competition with native speakers and kind of lose that battle because someone doesn't trust that I can speak English just as well as a native speaker can. So I definitely like to hire people from all over the world. Definitely not biased towards native speakers, and having a solution like that allows you to expand your hiring pool a lot more and allows you to evaluate more candidates that might be, the perfect fit for you, but they just don't live on the same continent.
The bad side of that, because of the AI tools, everyone thinks that they are the really good content writers.
Exactly. I forgot to mention that. Oh my God. So it's kind of funny because I actually know a lot of people, in real life that are like, oh yeah, pandemic, like work from home. I'm just going to be a writer. And I mean, you can barely speak English. How are you going to be a writer? You can't. It's kind of the first thing that people think about when they think working from home or working remotely. And especially now with AI tools, which I actually love. I actually think AI is amazing. And if you know how to use these tools, you can solve writer's block so fast. It's probably the worst thing that happened to you. But I think people use it the wrong way. And, as you said, like, oh, let me just generate some content and I'm a writer. No, you're not.
If you have a limited budget and if you're a marketer and if you cannot hire a content writer, then use an AI tool or use your AI tool for an email. But as a freelance writer, please do not use it.
Don't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. or at least if you're using it, be smart about it, I would say. Like the thing that I found very interesting, and I've been talking to a lot of people lately, kind of these lonely marketers or solopreneurs, they don't have budget to hire writers, so they use AI. And as soon as they master it, they're like, I can't do this anymore. This takes up so much of my time. Like, I just want to
Yes.
delegate that. So yeah, I mean, you know what? It's hard out there for everyone. And what makes me really, really sad is, like you said, the people that just generate content with AI or steal someone else's portfolio, which happens so many times. You're devaluing the craft and you're disrespecting the writers that are actually good and they just want to do good work and they want to learn. I don't know. It's very sad. So, as an employer on the other side, you want to be fair to everyone. But with the vast numbers of people that apply, it's just so hard. So again, going back to my promo, use Workello. And I'm done. Thank you. All right, almost done. Thanks for bearing with me. The third thing, super important to getting you to publish a lot of content at scale, is to just delegate editing as soon as you can. As I said, I was hired as an editor and then very quickly started doing everything else as well, apart from editing. And if you're watching this, you're probably, pretty much doing the same thing. So you just have to get out of content production. If you're an agency owner, if you're a solopreneur, if you're a marketer, if you are a content manager, you don't have time to either write or edit articles because you have to produce a lot of content and one person cannot possibly just do it alone. So what we did, and I'm going to talk about my lovely coworker Mina again. Mina got hired as a writer, and then after a few months, when we hired a few more people, we promoted her to an editor, and she was amazing. And we just kept doing that. So my advice would be, if you find someone who's good, who's amazing, promote them. Just don't lose that person. Give them that editing job. Obviously, if they want it. If they don't, that's a totally different story. But it's just going to free up so much of your time, and you can focus on, revenue generating activities and just making that money, finding new clients, or I don't know, developing your product if you're doing that. But just set up systems, do it for a little while and then delegate it to someone. Obviously write enough documentation for them and kind of be there to support them, but just get out of content production. I can tell you our CEO, Nick, I think he stopped reading content the moment he hired me as an editor. He was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to go sell our services. You deal with this. I'm going to deal with this. And it worked out pretty well. I should have shown you this slide before I just said all of this, but there you go, promote from within. And yeah, kind of the point 3 that I forgot to mention is, when you hire someone, the more people you work with, the more surface area you have to finding that perfect editor. So obviously, as I said, our lovely project manager, Mina, back when she was a writer, she was one of, I think, 5 writers back in the day, and she was absolutely the best one, and she got promoted. That's how I got promoted. I was just a freelancer, but I did something right, and I got the job. So the more people you work with, the more you will be able to figure out who's the best one. And if you're scared that you're hiring too many people, don't be scared. If your budget is limited, which I absolutely understand, even our budget is limited, and we've been in business for quite a while now. It's fine. Not everyone has to be a full-time employee while you're still building your business. You can hire people on a part-time basis. I generally don't like to rely too much on one person for too much content. So I would maybe give each writer, maybe 1 article a week or 2 articles a month. and just see who's kind of interested in growing with me and working with me, and then promote the best one. All right. Finally, do SEO without SEOs. And this might be a little controversial because how do you do SEO without SEOs? Well, with literally everything that we just talked about. So if you do a good job documenting your processes, if you have good SOPs, good process documents, you have good content briefs where you give your writers and editors instructions on how to optimize their articles even before they go live, you're golden. And the second part, which is also the part of what I just mentioned, is doing really good keyword research and group your keywords or cluster your keywords, whichever term you want to use, and then just write the instructions for your team. So what we do when we create content series briefs, we give our writers suggestions on H1s. For us, our main keyword is always in the H1, it's always in the title, it's always in the URL. And then we use the variations that we got from these keyword clusters to just sprinkle them throughout the content, use them in H2s. We also provide a lot of internal linking information, and we give our writers lists of internal links that they can use. We do the same with external links. And then our editors, when they start editing those articles, they just take a look like, okay, this is the main keyword, these are the variations, these are the internal links. Let me go see if this writer did a good job. If they did, an editor might just make the article look a little bit pretty. If they didn't, they will obviously provide feedback or maybe just implement all of these keywords on their own. And that is it. Very easy. We have one SEO person. As I said, it's our director of SEO, Gordana. He's amazing. You should also follow him on LinkedIn. And that's all. No other SEOs. Literally, everyone else started as a writer. No one started as an SEO. And our project manager now knows how to use, Screaming Frog and everything she learned, obviously, in the meantime. But those two are the only ones that now work on any SEO related tasks. Everyone else is a content person, just like me. And that's pretty much it. You can read more from us if you go to these links, which I could probably send. I don't know, maybe you can put them in the description or something, or you can just follow us on LinkedIn. This is the case study that we talked about. It provides a lot more detail than I went into today with a bunch of screenshots and everything, but the gist is pretty much the same. Just do a good job and document it and then do it all over again. Hire a good team and just create a system that's going to allow you not to worry so much about your content calendar, your content production process. Who's going to write this, who's going to edit this, and by the end of it, you're probably going to publish hundreds of pages and get to 100K or 1 million organics. And if anyone does that, I would love to hear about your experiences and just be proud of you from the distance, maybe. And yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Yay!
Yeah,
sorry,
nice.
I got. Yeah, can I? Okay, thank you for being here with us. This is so cute. I love it, and I think this is the end.
Yeah, this is the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for your lovely presentation. And actually, Brenda has a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How much time are the writers given to produce an average piece of content, like a 1,000-word blog post?
Mm-hmm. Great question. This will heavily depend on the type of content that they produce. If they write about, puppies or something very easy like that, maybe, a day or two, depending on the writer as well. Obviously some people want to write an article a day, and I'm not opposed to that. You do you. Some people want to do, three, 4 articles a week, or maybe just 1 article a week. So we would definitely listen to what they say. But I can tell you that if you create good content briefs for them, you are severely cutting down on the time that they need to do research, write the article, optimize the article, because you're already giving them a lot of the resources that they actually need, and you're giving them the exact structure. So a writer doesn't have to, bash their head against the wall and think like, how am I going to structure this? Because here's how I know already. And yeah, it's perfect. And as for images, sometimes if the project requires, they would source the images. We usually, clients would probably provide their Shutterstock account or something else. I actually want to start testing DALI, is it 2 or 3? I forgot, the AI image generator. It's fantastic. I definitely want to try that out and see what that would look like, but I would never ask my writers to just go and generate images with AI, because I think that might be a little bit of an overkill. But yeah, sometimes, if they're writing about, I don't know, cloud migration, they would probably need a week to write a really good article. So it really does depend on the type of content that they create.
Wow, it was
And
a really good
I love
question.
this. Have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the princess of content writing. This is so true, and this is such a great comment. I love this. Definitely true. Yeah.
Thank you, Brenda, for your excellent comment
Thank
and
you
your
so
excellent
much.
question.
Yeah, thank
Do
you.
you have any other questions, everyone? And she says, this was a great presentation.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh. Yeah. So Brenda says, thank you for making us understand that the actual piece is the only tip of the iceberg. Definitely true. So, obviously I'm on LinkedIn, and kind of people write these flashy posts like, hey, we got to 1.5 million, or we got to 58 million organics. But it's, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears involved in that whole process. And it's not just you, it's the entire team that has to work in sync and kind of in perfect harmony for all of this to be possible. And obviously, I mean, I'm not going to lie, most of us have budgets. So a budget is a very, very important part of it all. So yeah, definitely just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, thank you, Gordana, for being here with us. Oh my God, it's Friday and my brain started
Yeah.
to melt. Yeah, it was a really lovely presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
Most of the people just ignore content part of the project. They really believe that they could have higher results with only technical SEO, but content is a really big game changer.
Yeah.
So it was a really good presentation. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here with us.
Thank you
And
for having me.
have a nice weekend, everyone.
Have a great weekend, and thank you for your comments and questions. Bye.
Bye.